Good morning everyone and welcome to another Monday morning assembly. It just still seems a bit strange doing this from home rather than doing it in school with everybody there, but at least when I do it from home you can press pause and you don't have to sit on a hard wooden floor for a long time. And you're sitting in the comfort of your own home hopefully, so that's a little bit more comfortable. As another week goes on, missing you more and more, but I'm loving seeing all of your photographs. Oh, there he is. There's Fraser, sneaking in the back. I'm loving seeing all of your photographs coming through, so please keep them coming. And later on after assembly today, we'll be posting up Mr. Fife's latest instalment of A Week in the Life of Burntisland Primary School, but in different locations, because we're still Burntisland Primary School, we're just in different places. So look out for that video coming today. And thank you for sending all your photos in, and keep doing that. You make sure that you're sending in some of the work you've been doing and some of the adventures you've been having and the activities that you've been getting up to. Well, Friday and be active and getting into your school uniform, my goodness, I loved seeing some of the videos and some of the photographs of that. So I've got on my school uniform badge today, but on Friday I didn't manage to do the challenge, if I'm being honest, because I thought I might have done myself an injury. So I might have a shot of that this week because I'm feeling a little bit more fit this week, so I'll maybe try. But it was so nice to see lots of you trying that, and so nice to see photographs of you in your uniform, knowing that we're all still connected. So good morning, and I'm still not learned how to say that in French yet, but that's going to be my mission before we come back, is that I can say the date and the weather in French, and maybe even Spanish too. But maybe you could practice that at home today in the house. So let's get on and find out some of the things that we'll be thinking about this week. So the first thing is, I need to remind you, as always on a Monday, that Monday is the day I remind you that every day is a learning day, and you've not to forget about your learning. Maybe you're learning to make a cake, maybe you're learning to tie your shoelaces, maybe you're learning how to be patient and not fall out with somebody else in the house. Or maybe you are learning something really that might be really stretching your brain and really tricky to do, like really hard maths or really hard writing or really hard piano playing or really hard learning a new language, or whatever it is you're doing. I know in my house I've been trying some days to do really hard second year work from Balwearie, and I'm finding that really hard. So everything that we're doing is about our learning and stretching those brains. So keep it up, whatever it is you're doing. Maybe you're learning even more about the town by going out on your daily exercise break. Hope you had a really good weekend. It was a wee bit rainy yesterday. I think that's about the first day that it's really been a wee bit rainy here in Burntisland, but we'll see what the rest of this week brings. Now, without further ado, today, as you know, is the 18th of May, and I have got my little books with my 365 Days of Wonder and my Everyday Kindness, and I was able to find out things that had happened on the 18th of May back in history, so we'll get on to that in a little bit. So my Everyday Kindness today, and it is actually the one for May the 18th, and it says, be kind to yourself so you can be happy enough to be kind to the world. And that's by Misha Collins. Now, I'll say that again. Be kind to yourself so you can be happy enough to be kind to the world. And that's really important. And you know that that's one of our school rules, don't you? Is to be kind to yourself and kind to others and kind to everybody in the wider community. So Misha Collins is obviously on the same wavelength as us in school and is reminding us that if you're kind to yourself, then you're happy enough that you can be kind to everyone else. So that's really important. Sometimes it can be a challenge, sometimes it can be hard, but we've all got to do our best and pass the kindness on. Now, our 365 Days of Wonder quote. This was really interesting because this actually tied in with something that I found out when I was looking for On This Day in History. Because for May the 18th, the quote in 365 Days of Wonder is from John Lennon. Now, John Lennon was a very, very, very famous songwriter, and he was in a very, 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 very famous band called The Beatles. You might have heard of them. If you haven't, then I can absolutely guarantee that your parents and your grandparents and pretty much everybody you speak to will have heard of the Beatles. But maybe you could find out a little bit more about them, a bit about their history, or maybe you could listen to some of their music. But the quote from the book for today is from John Lennon. And the quote is, "All we are saying is give peace a chance." All we are saying is give peace a chance. And that was actually from one of their songs, one of the songs that the Beatles sang. And maybe you could have a think about what that really means. Especially when we've been so close to VE Day and all the history that surrounded that. So maybe you could have a little reflection time about what happened during the war and about VE Day and the celebrations that we had the other day, and also John Lennon's quote, "All we're saying is give peace a chance." And the reason that that tied in with On This Day in History is as follows, because on this day in history in 1970 was the last Beatles album was released in America. It was called Let It Be. So they released their last album in 1970, and that's a very long time ago. That's 50 years ago. So I was quite small back then. And still to this day, I know a lot of songs by the Beatles, and I'll bet you your parents do too, or your grandparents. So maybe you could find out more about them. But their last album was released in America in 1970, and it was called Let It Be. So maybe that's something to find out about today. Also in 1969, on this day in history, just the day before, and the year before, I mean, not the day before, the year before, Apollo 10 was launched from the Kennedy Space Center, and off it went, and it showed the very first colour pictures of Earth from space. So in 1969, on this day in history, that was the very first time that we were able to see coloured pictures taken of the Earth from space. So that's quite something, especially when you think about all the technology that we have in this day and age, and all the satellites that are up in space capturing all sorts of information when they're up there in space. Whereas in 1969, that was the very, very first time that coloured photographs were able to be beamed from and captured from space of the Earth. Now, I don't know what you were doing at the weekend, but usually this weekend is Eurovision weekend. And I really like Eurovision Song Contest. Not everybody does, but I do, because I'm quite a big fan of ABBA, and they won it a long time ago. But on this day in history, in 1996, it was the 41st Eurovision Song Contest, and Ireland won it with a song called The Voice. and it took place in Oslo. Now, I think it's a very, very, very long time since Britain won the Eurovision Song Contest, and I think it's probably a very long time since Ireland won it as well. But in 1996, Ireland did win the 41st Eurovision Song Contest with a song called The Voice. So that was something else that happened on this day in history. So it's quite a few things for you to think about, and quite a few things, maybe there's a little bit of link in there to music as well, isn't there, with the Beatles, and also a little bit of music with the Eurovision Song Contest. So maybe for Talent Spot today, you could sing a song to somebody at home, or you could do it together, and maybe you could find a Eurovision song to sing, or maybe you could find a Beatles song to sing. But that would be great. And you could video it and send it in, or you could just take photographs. That's something else to do. Now, here we go. What's in the box? Now, a little reminder that what's in the box sits up at the tool centre, and you can go and put your letters in anytime you like, Monday to Friday. And, actually not Monday, because it's usually here. So wait till Tuesday. Tuesday to Thursday is best. And if you want to, you can write letters to your friends and put them in there, and I'll read them out at assembly, and I'll say who it's to and who it's from. So it's another way of getting like a little request in on a Monday morning. So let's have a look and see what's in the box today. And there's letters in the box today. So let's see. Now, I'm just going to read two out just now, because I think I've been talking for quite some time this morning. Beautiful writing on the front, can you see? Right, let's have a look. Miss Anderson, it says on the front. Let me have a look and see what this says. Oh, it's got a beautiful picture on it. Look. And it says, "Dear Miss Anderson, can you read 'My Granny is a Pirate' one day?" Now, I don't know that story, so I am going to have to find it and get a copy of that. So I will. And this letter is from Thomas Robertson in Primary 2H. So, Thomas, I will be looking for that book, and you watch out, because it will appear in Bedtime Story very soon, hopefully. And it also says, "I miss all my classmates and teachers. I can't wait to come back to school. And I miss my best friend, Callan." Yeah, well, we miss you too, Thomas, and Callan, and everybody else. But that is a beautiful letter with beautiful pictures. So well done for that one. Now, Thomas is in Primary 2H, so he might have received one of these through his letterbox. This is actually Mrs. Hawthorne, and Mrs. Hawthorne has sent these to her classes with some instructions about the things that you can do with Mrs. Hawthorne. So if you're in Primary 2H, you might have one of these. And if you're not in Primary 2H, don't worry, because your teacher are doing lots of different things too. But look out for Mrs. Hawthorne round and about the town. And there's another letter. And this one, let me see who this is from. This one, oh, this is from Oliver Robertson in the Sunbeams room. And look at his writing. Wow, that's amazing writing. And it says, "I miss all my friends in nursery." Oh, we miss you too, Oliver. And then what Oliver's done is he's drawn a picture of all of his friends, and he's drawn a picture of him and also of Miss Moffat. Look, here she is here. Isn't that just wonderful? Thank you so much, Oliver. When Miss Moffat watches that, I know that she will be really chuffed. and it'll make her really smile and be really happy. That's it for this morning. 15 minutes, that's not too bad. And you could have paused it in between, and it's still a little bit shorter than a normal one, and you're still not sitting on a hard wooden school floor. You take care, everybody. Watch out for Mr. Fife's video and keep following us on Facebook and keep in touch and stay connected. We miss you all. Sending you lots of love.